Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. We've got another Master Duel video for you, and it's Monday, which means it is time yet again for another one of our weekly viewer specials. If this is your first rodeo with the viewer special, welcome, glad to have you. What we do here every Monday is we showcase duels from you all, the viewers. Not only is it a good chance to showcase some decks and or strategies that I might not normally have time to get to, but more importantly, we all get to come together as a community and cheer each other on as we are dueling, which I think is really the more important part. But yeah, if you're interested in getting in on the viewer special, you're going to want to head down to the description below. There you're going to find an invite link to our Discord server, the Hexlexplex. Once you are there, go ahead and head down to the viewer special submissions channel and drop your 9-digit player ID. That way I can view your publicly saved replays. Please do make sure this number is entered correctly and your replays are set to public. That way I'm able to view the games. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you. So why don't we head into our first duel. Alright, our first duel comes to us from Ekudo, and Ekudo is going to be playing Scareclaw Malice. I think it's this game here. I'm actually not sure. It's a Duelist Cup game, so I can't show the deck list here, although they did post it over on the Discord server. But basically it looks like the idea is that, because the Malice monsters are level 3, right, which a lot of the Scareclaw monsters as well, and I think, yeah, the Scareclaw Tryhard kind of cares about that. Having level 3 monsters, but we're going to be going into a Griffin lock with this combo, as in Nightmare Griffin, which of course, while it's on the field, special summoned monsters cannot activate their effects unless they are linked. So let's see how this one plays out. Yeah, we got other level 3 extenders here, like the Psychic Wielder as well. Normal summon Bellone, special summon the Wielder is going to allow us to immediately go into the Scareclaw Lightheart. Man, it's been so long since I've played Scareclaw. I really want to actually play them again. So, I might end up trying this list out for myself. Alright, there's the Rykart. Rykart's going to add the Arrival. And now we're synchroing. Yeah, because Wielder is a synchro monster, or a tuner rather. Oh, I get it. Yep, Ancient Fairy for the... Oh, okay, interesting. No, I thought we were going to add the Malice and Underground. We're going to go Calarium for Vysis. Although you could do that also, right, to pivot from Scareclaw into Malice. Like, you could have used Ancient Fairy Dragon, yeah, to add Malice and Underground there, and then banish Dormouse, and now you can do full Malice combo. Alright, Lightheart plus Vysis gonna make Cross Sheep here. Now we can go into Astrolaud, right? Yep. It's all coming back. It's been forever since I've played a deck with Vysis Starfrost in it. Remember Manadium? When was the last time you saw a Manadium deck? Okay, so we're still using Ancient Fairy Dragon to pivot into Malice plays, but we're doing so by special summoning the Dormouse from hand. But I imagine if we didn't have Dormouse in hand, we could have then added Malice and Underground. Which, of course, yeah, it makes sense why we didn't add it, because we already had Malice stuff in hand. Man, Ancient Fairy Dragon is such a cool card. That's another card I haven't used in quite some time. Alright, so it looks like we're... Basically, with the Scareclaw engine, we were able to add the Baron de Fleur to our end board here, as well as, of course, setting up a bunch of bodies to use the Malice combo. Because, like, even if our Dormouse had been negated there, we still could have popped off pretty hard. Especially because we have the March Hare, too. And the Arrival. We never use the Scareclaw Arrival. That's another Link material. Although, does the Arrival... I don't remember if it locks you into anything. No, it doesn't. Okay, I didn't think so. Yeah, and Malice doesn't lock you into anything. It's Splash Mage that locks you into Cyber Summoning for the turn. So yeah, I mean, they're actually two engines that play pretty well into each other, all things considered. Being those Chessy Cat draws, adding back the March Hare. Is this Triclar? Or Tryheart? Yeah, it is Tryheart. Okay, cool. Tryhard, of course, turns everything to defense mode and is then unaffected by everything that is in defense mode. I will say maybe Malice meta might not be the best for that in particular, but... And there's the Nightmare Griffin. But I mean, the Tryhard defense mode effect is like a very minor benefit of playing Scareclaw. It's not like necessarily the main reason we go into it. Wow, and we even made Appaloosa too. So that is quite an inboard there. We have Tryhard, which as mentioned will turn every one of our opponent's monsters to defense mode and then is unaffected by them. Baron de Fleur and Appaloosa, of course, we're all familiar with the monster negates and the omni negate. And then Nightmare Griffin, again, as mentioned, special summon monsters on the field cannot activate their effects unless they are linked, which all of our monsters are, but Tryhard notably does not have an upward pointing arrow, meaning that our opponent's basically going to have to link summon before they can activate the special summoned effects of any, or the effects of any special summoned monsters, rather. And of course we have a whole slew of Malice-related back row here if we need it as well. Opponent's going to lead with a Gold Sark here, but they're going to end up banishing not a Malice card, but actually Tri-Brigade Mercurier, which we're going to try to negate with Appaloosa. They're going to go for a Bestial Saronir following that. Now, keep in mind, Nightmare Griffin only affects monsters that were special summoned, which of course means monster effects that don't activate on the field will still activate. Ooh, Super Poly here, gonna fuse the Despian Tragedy with the Scareclaw Tryhard. That's gonna end up making Despian Coritis. As far as Super Polys go, all things considered though, that wasn't that bad. Thankfully, our board is mostly different attributes. I'm a little surprised they didn't fuse away Appaloosa plus Baron, but maybe they wanted to fuse Tragedy away to try to get the search? I'm not really sure what the motivation there was. Baron, of course, negating the branded fusion. They're going to go Despian Coritis battle over the Appaloosa before main phase 2 Despian Tragedy banishes and allows them to reset the branded fusion, which can activate. Because the activation was negated, so they can still use it again, even though it says you can only activate one branded fusion per turn. Yeah. But they're pretty quickly realizing that it's not going to be enough against this end board here. That was some pretty good stuff. Thank you very much, Ekudo, for showing off such a pile deck with such a powerful end board. But let's go ahead and see what else we have lined up from the next submission here. Okay, our next duel comes to us from Alnick. It's another Duelist Cup game, so can't show off the list here, but Alnick is going to be playing Voiceless Voice, and actually has a going second game against Ryziel here. Voiceless Voice is a deck that I think a lot of people kind of tend to sleep on a little bit. Because if you go back and look at the OCG meta that most closely reflects our current Master Duel meta, that is Malice getting the Ignister support. You know, a lot of those tournament reports slash meta reports will show, of course, Malice and Ryziel as the top decks of the format, but Voiceless, in at least one of the reports, is actually the third, considered the third best deck right behind them. Wow, our Ryziel opponent here has no fear of Nibiru whatsoever. Unfortunately for us, we just don't have it here. We might not be playing it either, but I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Because you don't see a lot of Nibirus around anymore. You should still play around it, of course, but now, interesting, they added Ice and Plug-in. Do they already have the field spell? And they're simply they have Star, and that's how they're going to get the field spell. Okay. Sure. But yeah, Voiceless's game plan, while unchanging and relatively simple, is still extremely solid. I mean, you're putting up a 4100 untargetable, you know, monster that can negate every turn, but even more than that, Voiceless has an insane amount of just grind game to it. Alright, let's see what we got here. You know, given what our hand looks like, I don't know, I'm not a Voiceless expert by any means, but I feel like Diviner top deck is actually pretty good here. Like, we wouldn't want to open, or we wouldn't want to draw like a hand trap right now, right? We would rather have opened that. So, if you're going to open a hand that's all gas, no hand traps, you definitely want to be top decking another piece of gas that you didn't already have access to going into your turn. Going into Dogmatica Maximus here. Looks like they're going to immediately Detonator Pop, which I think is a pretty common mistake that I see a fair amount of newer Ryziel players making, is that they'll just Detonator. I mean, that's like the classic, you know, click yellow button, right? But Detonator popping like every single thing that's happening. Ooh, Imperm on the Utopic Ray Lancer. That might seem a little bit weird. You might be wondering, like, well, why, one, why is it on the field, and two, why bother negating it? While I do agree that our opponent shouldn't have made this turn one, this is still an important effect to negate because not only will it weaken all of our monsters, more importantly, if we try to go to battle while this thing is up, the effects of all of our attack mode monsters are going to be negated. And this doesn't target, so the barrier of the Voiceless Voice would not be able to prevent that here. Your opponent can only target rituals, your opponent cannot target light monsters with effects, but yeah, this effect that does not target. So, Alec had a great call to Imperm there on the Utopic Ray Lancer. I bet that's something I would have forgotten about. I 100% guarantee you I would have moved to battle phase and then gotten hit with the negate and then cried and probably surrendered. No, so that was, yeah, that was a very, very good call. Alright, we got everything online here. We got Skull Guardian, Sorvis, both ritual and effect monster forms. There goes the negate being negated. Detonator no longer has any materials to protect itself, which means that we can just run over their entire board here with our 2600 attack monsters conveniently just strong enough to battle over the Utopic Ray Lancer and the Duo Driver. Alright, they're going to start off with Cross to attempt to get back some of that advantage. We're chaining the Sorvis effect in order to get our second Ritual Sorvis online, which I actually... Are these once per turn effects? I don't think they are. They're not. Yep, so that means we get 2 summon negates on top of course, the Skull Guardian negate and the Continuous Trap card negate as well. So, while, of course, our Rizio opponent here didn't necessarily play optimally, it didn't really change too much here because we didn't open any hand traps anyway. And I think really just showcased how good Voiceless can be, even going second. So yeah, thank you very much, Alnick, for showing that off. Voiceless is a deck that I would love to play. It's too expensive. And I've already spent like too many gems opening the secret pack and not getting enough to build it. So definitely love to live through others vicariously when it comes to this deck. We still have time for one more game though. Let's finish off with that one. And for our final game here, this one comes to us from Draco. Draco is going to be on Plant Link, which I don't even remember the last time I saw this deck on ladder. But not only are we on Plant Link, we're also actually playing a Primite package here, which I don't think I've ever seen people really talk about either. I mean, the Loki is a normal monster. It makes sense that the Primite support, which supports normal monsters, definitely has some good use there. And we're even also playing the Imperial Dragon, which I think is very interesting. I've not seen many Primite builds play this card, so I'm eager to see if we're able to make some good use of that. Alright, looks like our opponent is going to be on Malice for this one. Relatively standard looking build, although I will say the Soul Absorption. I understand the vision. I just don't know if I agree with it on our opponent's part. But in any case, let's go ahead and check this one out here. Yeah, Plant Link. I'm really trying to remember the last time like I faced off. You know, I say that, but I think actually even this most recent Duelist Cup, I did have a game where my opponent went normal summon Loki. I did, yep, because I remember then I impermed their Link one, and then they kind of didn't have any more follow-up after that, which I was like, oh, okay. But here we have the Loki as well as the Seed Shadow, and we even have a Sunvine Sowing already in hand, so like even if our opponent had a negate here, we wouldn't run into the same issue the person I played against did. Oh, I thought that was the same monster for a second. No, it's a different one. You know, I actually have still not watched Vrains yet myself. I've seen almost every other Yu-Gi-Oh series except the Rush ones. So I don't know. I've wanted to check it out for quite some time. I've heard good things. Of course, I've also heard some not good things, but I mean, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh series. I don't know if I've ever seen... Like, I've played against Plant Link before, but have I ever seen him summon this one before? Daphne? Well, I don't remember if I mentioned it already, but in this combo line, we are actually going for an extra Link. So not only do we get to see some Sun... I was going to say Sunvine. I guess this is partially Sunvine. We get to see some Plant Link action in 2025. We even get to see them Plant Link. Or Plant Link. Extra Link. Alright, so we're firing off a Max C here. Maybe I was mistaken. Or maybe we're going to do it on like the follow-up turn or something here. All right, they're going to go for Underground for Rabbit. Drawing off that Max C, Rabbit F activating here, setting the MTP. Setting, and then normally Chessy Cat's going to banish a Dormouse from hand, which will then summon. Yeah, we've got them under the Max C. Let's see what all they end up doing. How many draws they give us before they put down something that's like substantial / threatening. Because right now they're just getting a bunch of the main deck bodies out. We do have this Lava Golem, but of course that is going to be sort of contingent on the fact that we survive going into their turn here. Wow, they have like every trap card here, don't they? There's TB11. The March here is going to activate, adding itself back to hand. They didn't add anything off Red Rain, so they must already have Malice and Underground in hand. I mean, Malice in the Mirror. Linking everything into White Binder F, banishing a bunch, sure. Link Decoder coming back. Red Ransom will summon, I don't think, yeah, White Rabbit, they started their combo by banishing that, right? But they didn't summon Red Ransom either. They just set off of White Binder. Okay, they're summoning the White Binder. Am I crazy? They did not summon Red Ransom and they didn't use the banish effect earlier. I think they just missed it. Alright, so they're summoning the Allied Code and then reviving, which, yeah, that's gonna mean no more summons. And they have to battle into the Thrasher, right? That's like its whole thing. Or maybe it's the other monsters. I don't know. Oh yeah, here we go. This card can't be targeted for attacks, but it's not prevent your target. Yeah. So they all have that effect, I think. Okay, here we go. We're following up with the follow-up extra link combo line here. And you know, I actually wasn't misspeaking earlier. We are actually straight up on a purely Sun Avalon, Sunseed, Sunvine combo line here. Not really using like Ragnaraka or oh, what's the other one? Aromage. And then the other typical stuff you'd see in Plant Link. It really is just the Sunvine stuff. And not only did we extra link, then we're able to OTK them as well. That is good. That is really good. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Draco, as well as everybody else who submitted for the viewer special. You know, even if you didn't get featured, the submissions are very important. We could not do this series without everybody submitting games every week. So I really do want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to do that. But that's going to go ahead and do it for now. Let's move on to our outro so we can thank YouTube members and patrons. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.